It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, the PUP Podcast here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. I'm your host, Rusty Diamond, and I told myself I wasn't going to shift around in my seat, but I seem to do that every single intro, so may as well keep that going. Not what I want to do, but that's what I'm doing anyway. And today, I'm going back through, I'm bringing back people that I want to bring back because I'm not doing this just to bust out episodes. This is number 633. I don't need numbers anymore. I'm going for quality over quantity. That's why I'm bringing this guest back. And that's why I have right here my special guest is right here. My special guest is right here and right now. My special guest is Tim Coyle. Tim Coyle, welcome
Hey,
back.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for being here again. I enjoyed our conversation last time, and I hadn't spoken to you for years. So, I like getting to see what's happening with you and what's going on in the Tim world. The area you have going there looks great.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I just moved into a different room, so nothing on the walls yet. But
Oh,
I'm soon to have different film stuff up and pictures and all that.
what kind of film stuff you got?
Oh, I have some posters from some movies and some like pieces of special effects that they let me keep that I might get little stands for and put them up there for some of the movies that I've worked on. I do
Oh,
have a couple of signed posters from different uh, actors and filmmakers that I really like, but I don't know if those ones are going up yet. I really want to get one of those, almost like a TV screen poster type of deal, because I get so many posters that I don't have enough wall room to ever organize or to show them off. So I figured that's the way to go for the future.
so would that be like taking a scan of every one of those pictures and then putting them on to rotate through on a TV screen, such as what's in the background there?
Yeah, something like that. They even have ones that sit totally flat against the wall, and they're not really good for video, but for pictures, they're great. And I think there's some services that you can buy scans of like the old movie posters and everything at high res. So I,
Oh,
I'm looking into that. Of course, I gotta pay for living and everything first, but that's something for the future.
sure. And so then with the movies and other films that you're doing, do people make posters anymore? Like if it's I don't know. I think that'd be a cool thing if it's a film that you're on, like like one that you're a lot more closely, overseeing in some site or some sense to be able to have a poster for it. Is that a thing people do anymore at all?
Yeah, a lot of people, even on the really low budget independent short films, sometimes they'll have a friend that wants to make it, or they know how to do it, or they'll pay someone. And so I think most of the projects that I do end up getting posters. And sometimes when it's the movies that I've worked on that go to the streaming platforms, they have their own, whoever the distribution company is that picks up your movie, they have
Yeah.
like certain quality and look that they want for their posters. So they'll have their in-house guy redo your poster, even if you've made one. Uh, Also, it might be a way for them to get more money too. But who
Sure.
knows? I've actually designed a good bit of them, especially for the super independent ones that I've worked on, just because
Yeah.
I know how to use Photoshop and I like graphic design. So I've designed quite a few of them. Haven't done one in a bit, but I always enjoy doing that, getting to be creative at home or on set. I like all of it.
Yeah. Why let the fun stop when you leave work? If it's
Yeah.
just keep on doing it and get to the next project. And so, do you have a certain aesthetic you like doing? That's sort of the Tim Coyle touch of your art. Your what would you call that?
It's almost
Uh,
more graphic
graphic
design
art.
than art
Grap-
because
Okay.
I do have a drawing tablet, and I've like went into some of the pictures and like hand touched up things, but I've never actually drawn anything from scratch. So I wouldn't call myself the greatest actual artist in that way, because I've worked with a lot of people that have a lot better skills. But yeah, a lot of it is compositing and trying to make colors and brightnesses match. And especially when you're working with the independent films, they don't always have the quality that you need to actually do it right. So you have to try to play around with like upscaling images and trying to take care of the different artifacts that happen when you get given super low quality. You can be given like 8 different pictures taken at different times with different sizes, and one of them will just be like this from a character, and the other one will be a whole body of a character, and they'll say, "Oh, just put that together like this on this poster," and they'll expect you to kind of work magic. So I've had to do a lot of taking from stock photo sites and kind of compositing different images together. I haven't used AI too much, just because I I didn't I wasn't really familiar with it when I was making the posters all the time, and now it would probably be very easy. But I kind of rather do it myself because I kind of know how to do it. But I don't mind AI, and like almost like a newer version of Google, where it helps you with like answers for things and reviews on everything. But I try not to use uh, some of the AI tools in either the video or visuals editing that I do that really take care of it all for you, because I don't feel right about, usually I'm getting paid to do it, and I don't feel right about like having something just do it for me. Uh, so yeah, I have mixed feelings on the AI.
So are you editing video then as well
I
on some of the
have
projects?
I've had a few paid gigs of like filming store openings. I had a friend that had a short film that knew that I knew somewhat how to edit, and I was trying to learn, so they hired me to actually light their film. But then afterwards, they came over to my house and we kind of team edited it together. And then I had a short film that I actually directed that's I think out for streaming now on different platforms. It might be on Amazon or even for free on Tubi. So if you know that streaming service, you might, if you ever feel like watching some fun, low budget indie horror, Tubi is a great source for that. You do have to watch commercials because it's a totally free service, but there you go.
So what's that
But
film called?
the film that I edited a part for, oh, I gotta fly. It was called, I think, Beware the Boogeyman, and
Okay.
it was an anthology put together by a group that I work primarily with called 7th Street Productions. And they came up with the overall concept and wraparound story. And then they offered different crew members and cast members that have worked on their different productions before a slot to direct one of the shorts and write it. So I wrote my own and directed it and lit it and edited it. But unfortunately, I was supposed to have about 2 months to edit it, which is pretty short post period for even
Sure.
a short film. And I would be learning in that period because I was familiar with a lot of stuff from doing just funny videos and practicing editing, but I had never really edited a complete thing of my own. So it was a big learning experience. And I was on a movie for most of the first month. And then I got told that the distribution company wanted to get the movie sold quicker because there was a big film conference coming up. So I actually got 1 month chopped off my post process. So the short that's out there right now is it's out there for streaming, part of the movie. You can go watch it. It's the fifth short in the anthology, and it's basically my rough cut. Part of
Whoa.
I was going to chop a lot more out and fix the effects, add a lot more sound design. But one of the bigger things I didn't get to do with that one is I was going to have the dialogue flow a little smoother, because I had done an assembly cut where it's basically like this person talks, then this person talks, then this person talks, then this person talks. And that can be kind of not so smooth. And you can do something called L and J cuts, where you cut to the other person's reaction before the other person is done speaking. And it can kind of, especially if the actors are good and they're reacting to different lines, it can really help the conversation be a little bit more interesting and flow. But I didn't get to that part, so I'm happy with what I put out with the time I was given. I'm a little bit bummed out that I couldn't, give it that extra month of polish, because that definitely would have helped out. But I've gotten on a few of the reviews that I watched on YouTube of the whole anthology that some people enjoyed my short, which felt nice.
Cool.
My short, I kind of scheduled it a little hard for the actors and crew because I needed day and night shots. So I kind of did half of the day and then a break for a few hours, and then we continued at night. So the
A
days were
siesta?
really, yeah. So the days were really long. I think they were the longest out of anyone else's shorts, but from what I heard from the other cast and crew, I was just a little pretty calm, easygoing. I kind of could tell people answers when they would ask me, and respected everyone. So they said they all had a great time on it, even though the nights were a little long. So I was happy with that. At least I had that going for me, because some movies, it seems like the experience of making it can taint your view of it afterwards when you're asked about it, because you remember the long hours or the people that might not have been as nice to everyone on set like they should be, and professional. So I was glad at least I didn't have anything like that.
Yeah. And so did you scout the locations for your shots then too there?
The good thing about that is that it was a pretty low budget production, but we were given enough to get places that we needed. But we had worked at a location in Vader, Washington, that I think was an Airbnb, but we contacted the owner separately, and we had filmed a couple projects there. And it's like kind of one of the most ideal places for filmmaking, because it's pretty far out in the woods, so you get that isolated woods feeling. There's a lot of woods on the property. The house is old and creepy, and it has wallpaper, and you can make it look cinematic to an extent where a lot of times, especially if you're given a location by production or one of the producers just picks a place, they don't think as much about the cinematography and the lighting aspect of it.
Yeah.
And they'll pick a house that has like plain white walls, and then when you do that, the light just bounces everywhere, and you don't get any dimension in the frame, and it doesn't really look 3D, kind of like a movie does. There's not any layers of lighting or anything, so you can kind of get screwed over pretty bad by not getting the right location. So they are right when they say location, 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 because I've done a few movies where people were complimenting my lighting, where it was really part of it was the location was helping me do the work, and I wasn't fighting against my light just getting thrown everywhere. I was more able to shape it like I wanted to. So I did get to pick out a good location, and a few of the other people wanted their shorts to be there. So I went out and they let me have it, thankfully. So I had shot in the place before, so I knew what was possible. That was
So
nice.
was there any Easter eggs or anything of shots from the last film that was made there, like things that you kind of went back or people that noticed and they're like, oh, that's for this little spot from here?
Not in that one. In that one, they had kind of crossover characters. I played a character that crossed over into a couple different different shorts, but not from our previous movie. But a different movie that we shot there did have the Easter eggs, and it was set in the same universe as an earlier movie that we had gotten released through a distribution company called Breaking Glass Pictures, and I think they got a decent response for it. So Calvin Modier McCarthy, he's the head. He's usually directing and doing DP and producing and doing a bunch of stuff, because it's indie film. You got to wear a lot of hats. He had the idea to make another film in that universe. So my character and another actor's character were in that other movie that we filmed on the farm. So the characters crossed over, not many references to locations or anything.
So then, were you having any spots that were difficult in the house? Are they just really wanted to, but they weren't quite looking right or didn't quite do exactly what you wanted for the shot?
There was a few times where like the stairwell was pretty cramped, so getting the angles we wanted, we had to change it up a little bit. Thankfully there was a mirror there, so it was able to like add a little bit more depth to it, and you could place a character out of frame and you could still see them in frame because they'd be in the reflection in the mirror. And then different places inside the house, you might have to deal with I set this lighting up, I thought it looked great, but then now the way the camera's placed, you see the light and the reflection in the window behind him. So it was not too difficult. Probably the exterior scenes were the most difficult, and that's just because a lot of those were at night, and just putting up stands and high-powered lights, you need to worry about power, so you need to run long extension cords or bring in a generator, and you have to worry about the land being uneven and if the stands are going to fall off, and to make the lighting look the best, getting it up higher and higher. If you're doing like a fake moonlight, it looks a lot better if it comes from up above. But of course, getting stands and lights that can be flown that high, that also you can afford on an indie budget, and like transport. I use a Toyota Corolla to get my gear around, so I can't go too crazy with the gear. I've worked, we did do one of the movies there. We did have a grip truck, and that was pretty nice, except for we brought the truck, we had it all loaded with gear, and then we couldn't use it for any of the exterior stuff because it decided to snow. So we just were stuck. The wheels were spinning. So the
Literally.
one gig, the one gig we would have been able to do with a nice grip truck, and we couldn't use it. So I'm usually using my little car to get gear around. So that's a constant battle on every film I do, is just the amount of gear requested to, well, also your rate. Sometimes there's something called a kit fee when you're doing crew work, that a lot of the projects that have a teeny bit higher budget, not even huge movies or anything, but they just want to pay their people right and do it the more professional way, or union, they'll have it to where you get your wage, and then any gear you bring, they basically like rent it from you, and you have insurance on it. And so it helps both sides of the production. You don't have to track down all your gear because you're hiring someone with the gear. And then that person can keep up the wear and tear on their gear and replace stuff when it gets broken because they're actually getting it rented out. But a lot of the super indie stuff, they don't even know that that's a thing. So they'll pay you your normal rate. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, I want to pay everyone on crew the same amount. And they'll have someone coming with a binder where I'm coming with a car full of gear that costs thousands of dollars. So it can be, especially in the indie world, it's hard because for me, the money doesn't matter at all, because I would not be doing this if I was looking for money, or I would have been turning down opportunities that I got, or dropping out of opportunities that I got for the higher paid offers when they would come, because I've been offered higher paid, a little bit bigger projects, but I've always been booked on independent stuff. And some people I know in the community would just go like, okay, see you later, and just go to the higher paying project. But I got into this to help make movies because I always wanted to, and I don't want to burn my name in the community. And a lot of times people can't get someone to replace you last minute. So I usually have been kind of stuck in the indie world because of that. But I don't mind it because you get to be a little bit more active. I get to do a lot of, because I act and do crew work, I get to do a lot of dual role, like where I'll pop in for a quick role, or even a bigger role in some movies where I'm still lighting it on top of it. And for me, I enjoy that a lot.
You kind of get to light your own shot.
Yeah. Well, and I have ADHD, so sometimes I've been put on set in a certain position where you hurry up, you get to your spot, and then you basically just wait to help and wait to work and wait to help be part of the production. And those are fine, but they're can be a little bit boring.
Yeah, hurry up and wait.
Yep.
And then, yeah, you hopefully you get someone cool to talk with. And yeah, and so then you haven't joined the union out there, have you?
Oh no, I sorry, can I give you can I go The dog's barking real quick.
Sure. Yeah. I'll talk about
Sorry.
so it's cool. I'm going to talk about other things, and we're going to talk about how I should probably go get another drink because I think that one's halfway, but I think I can make it last. And but he's already back.
I'm back.
He's already there. Man,
Okay.
yeah, okay. So then you said that you like being able to move around more frequently during that, and that you're not union. You're not joining
Yeah,
the
I
union.
I definitely got the amount of hours that I need to be union, but you have to submit your time cards and pay a fee, from my understanding. And right now, uh, everything is so slow that the competition is really high. And from my understanding, the way the union works, it's seniority. So if I entered right now, there's not a ton of work on for me. So I could do that, but it might not end up paying that back until things get a little bit busier, because unfortunately it seems like film everywhere is slow right now, no matter what level you're doing it at, which is unfortunate in a way, because a lot of the really good people that do the good movies are willing to, because they are just sitting on their thumbs, they're willing to take lower rates. So competition is a lot higher right now. But the next thing that I want to do, and I have goals to do, is I did submit to a talent agent months ago, and they accepted me. But I need
Cool.
to get proper headshots and sign all the paperwork before I can start that. But part of it was where I used to live, I didn't have a good audition space. So I didn't want to sign up with an agent and have them send me auditions all the time and be like, oh, sorry, I can't use the back room today, so I can't submit the audition, because you need enough room to have like a blank wall and not many distractions around. So I didn't have that where I used to live, but now I should have a good place to do that. So once I get everything settled in here, that's my next goal, to finally go out and purchase some professional headshots.
Yeah,
And
who did your headshot that you sent me?
oh, that was with my camera on the last movie, and I did everyone else's. So I set all the settings, and my friend Calvin, since he's a DP, I just handed him off the camera to take shots too. So we kind of traded back and forth. But the ones of me were by him, and then I edited them. That was one of my character photos for the movie. So there was Beware the Boogeyman, and that was an anthology, and the distribution company liked that, so we did one super low budget called Revenge of the Boogeyman,
Oh,
and
okay.
that one we did a different story where we had most of the crew were the primary actors, since the budget was so low, and we knew how to dual role, so we just jump in and out of our positions. And then we hired one other actress that we work with a ton to be one of the larger characters, and then I think we had a couple of smaller people jump in for little teeny bit roles, but it was primarily the crew was the cast. And in that one, uh, we filmed at the same place that we filmed my short. So it was the similar location from the first movie, and then recently we had a down period with Seventh Street, and we didn't have anything going on. We didn't have any productions, and it was summertime. So I was like, I have a lot of old camcorders that have night vision. Let's just make a found footage movie. So Calvin Modier McCarthy and I kind of brainstormed, because we were on a different production for a different movie together, but I was staying at his house. So we were hanging, and then we just were kicking around ideas, and we came up with that we would make a third movie in our Boogeyman trilogy. So that one is Evidence of the Boogeyman. And again, it's a lot of the cast, all of the cast is the crew this time, basically. And we're playing different characters, and it's a different type of story. So it's funny, the Boogeyman is the same in every one of the movies we've done,
Yeah.
but like the style of movie doesn't fit with any other one. But they all at least have that one location invader in it. And we actually got the owner of the location to play a character. So that was the last one we did this summer.
how did that go with how
Oh,
the owner liked getting to be in the
oh,
film?
he loved it. He's our biggest supporter. He wrote a song for one of our other movies that we filmed there, and he's super proud. He shows everyone the movies, and he actually jumped on and kind of helped produce and act in the last one because he likes us so much, and we haven't messed up his house. And yeah, he did really good. And we were all kind of under the impression of like what the way we made the movie is okay, we have such little budget, we'll have to have a shorter shoot. So typically it's around 2-3 weeks for the movies we do,
Yep.
but this one was only 5 days. And what we
Whoa.
did was we had a rough skeleton for the story that was going to happen, but we didn't really have any dialogue written down. So we didn't have to memorize anything. And we went out and improved in character, to keep the story moving along. And we were all kind of wondering if it was going to turn out or not. And lo and behold, that we were just doing that by ourselves because people kept telling us you should just make something of your own without
Yep.
having to get funding first. And we figured that was an easy thing to try it with, and it would be a way to get together with the other crew and that we always work with, and we'll have some work. We'll get to actually see each other, and we'll get more practice with a different style of movie that we've never done before. So we were all happy to do that just with a really low rate. And then the distribution company contacted Calvin and just checking in and asked him what we had going on. And they had distributed the prior two Boogeyman movies. So they said, we want to buy that. So they just bought it straight out before we were making it. And as we were making it, we were just kind of nervous, like, oh, I hope this is good enough. We hope without, proper lines being written down, that this will turn out in a way that we're not making them feel like they're losing money, from buying the project. And afterwards, the lead of the company that I work with, Calvin, was like, maybe we should ask for a little bit more, because apparently it turned out a lot better than he thought. And we were, and I've seen a rough cut of it, and there was a ton of really good stuff that was left on the cutting room floor. But that happens with every movie, and a lot of them
Sure.
were just moments that were cool, but they didn't really work in the story. So I haven't seen the final cut of it yet, but the distribution company, from what I've heard, Breaking Glass Pictures, was happy with it. So that makes me happy. At least they think it's going to be watchable for people. That's my main thing, is just people that like these type of movies have fun with it.
Yeah. And so then how are you with memorizing lines, or are you?
I can do it. I have a short-term memory disability. I can't remember what the doctor called it. So my biggest flaw is I can't memorize that fast. I feel really comfortable if I have like 3 or 4 weeks lead time. I've gotten it down in less than a week before, but I think I've gotten it down in a couple of days before. But for me, the big problem is there's a point where I get to where I'm not just thinking of the words anymore. I'm actually thinking like, oh, okay, here's a performance. If I have a little bit of memorization time up front, I tend to only be thinking of the words, and then I can hear myself after the words leave my mouth, and I think that was not the right emphasis. What I said didn't really make sense with the cadence that I said it, and like I didn't get mad when I should have because they said something rude. So that's I can kind of memorize in a few days, but to get character down and everything, I like about 4 weeks. And my process with that is I work up an audio version of the script that has all the lines, all the direction, basically almost like an audiobook. And I give the characters different voices and everything, and I'll listen to that while I'm walking around and driving and not able to pay attention. And then once I get that story in my head, I work up a version with blanks where I talk and I just kind of perform as I go on long walks. Part of that is the method of distracting myself from like phones and TVs. So that's why walking or exercising is the best for me for memorization, and kind of repetition till I get it into my head to where I don't have to think about the words and I can finally just think about performance. That's when I get the most comfortable.
So when you're going on these walks, are you just out? Are you near where you live, or do you
Yeah,
go to a
I
specific
like
place?
going to parks and nice nature trails. And luckily, I do have Bluetooth headphones. So when I'm walking around with my phone and talking to it, people that pass by might just think I'm on the phone instead of a crazy person just talking to themselves. The only problem
Sure.
is I do horror, and some of the characters that I play have, they get mad sometimes and they yell fuck. So I have been on a couple of walks where I really hope I didn't scare someone yelling fuck behind them in a trail where they're by themselves. And so that's the only part that's not as smooth about that repetition is or the rehearsing. And I have looped people on walks, and I get to thinking about it, it's like, oh, I think I was saying the same thing when I passed them last time, so they just think I'm talking to myself. So that's the only weird part that it gets. But once I get it down, I'll even when I'm driving, I'll play the version with no lines and don't have to look at the script and just run it. Sometimes I have it way more down than I think I do, but it's just like anxiety or nerves making me like over prepare.
Yeah.
But I don't tend to do the thing where I over prepare uh, and decide exactly what I'm going to do performance wise. That can be kind of bad because if you are like, okay, I'm going to get mad here, I'm going to do this there, I'm going to do this there. When you get on set with someone else, they might not react the same way. So you deciding to get mad there doesn't make sense with that very nice thing or the very nice way they just said something beforehand. So I'm able to tailor the performance as I go, but at least I have an idea of like, oh, maybe they're being rude here, things like that.
Yeah. And so then how was it then when you were doing that without the script and you were going by how you knew your character and then
Oh,
being
it,
able
it,
to
it was pretty nice because we had almost like a beat sheet Bible and a little breakdown for each part of the story to remind us like, okay, this is day one, nothing scary has happened yet. Your person is just really into filmmaking, they're not really argumentative, they're kind of a team player, where one of the other characters would get the instruction like, okay, on this day and this part of the story, you're like mad that you're on this project because the quality isn't up to snuff in your eyes because you're a film school kid and you don't like using camcorders and found footage. You're just basically doing it for a paycheck. And then there would be like directions like, okay, this part of the script, this character takes off or this character goes missing. And then we did multiple takes of a lot of the stuff, sometimes just really long takes and redoing stuff. Like we'd break character in the middle of it and go like, oh, go back, do this, do that, because we were using 3 different cameras for the found footage aspect of it. So we were able to edit between angles. It wasn't just a one static shot. And that was really fun. It was really fun getting together with everyone and just being a little bit more creative on the spot. And part of that was even laying out some of the different effects and scares that were going to happen in it. We all kind of were coming up with ideas, and everyone seemed to be pretty excited. Like, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's try that. Because we were worried a bit about getting enough footage, but by the third day, Calvin, the director who was going to have to edit it, said, "Oh no, we have more than enough." So then we used it more as playtime to get the bits of the story we needed, but start coming up with stuff to give it a little something extra, especially considering the budget it was at.
yeah, which was 0 or near
Yeah, it
0.
was gonna be 0, and we were all just gonna pitch in and uh, pay for the food ourselves. The homeowner that we had rented from before was like, "Oh no, I love what you guys are doing. I'll take a producer credit, or you guys can do like a music video for me as a payment for the house." So he really helped out in that way. The effects people were like, we'll just bring extra effects stuff from different projects that we haven't used, or we'll like recycle stuff so we don't have to build stuff specifically for this. And they are really good. They're called Real Fiction Studios, and they are near Seattle, Washington. And they do some of the best effects I've ever seen on set. Some of it I love practical special effects, but even me, I get like, ugh, because they're so detailed. And yeah, they came in, and both of they're a couple. Naomi is one of the makeup artists, and Jason Brooks is the owner, and he's a makeup artist too, but he's also an actor. And Naomi actually jumped in and acted so as one of the main characters in it. So they were a huge part of why that came together. And then I think I don't know the exact figures, but I know that Calvin was trying to be safe because he didn't know how exactly the quality would be when we were done with the project, given the kind of experimental improv nature of it. So I think it was somewhere between like 7 and 10 grand they gave us,
Nice.
which helped a lot because then we could actually pay locations. We could actually get real food. And it did help for me just getting a wage because I had bought all those cameras, kind of one of them for one of my different projects, but I kind of found them for really cheap. And even cheap for film gear can hit your wallet a little bit. So for me, it was really nice
Sure.
to get some sort of money back for having to, buy some of the gear that was used for the movie. And we did pay, I think, some of the bit people that came in did some of the stuff for free. But yeah, it was one of the funnest filmmaking experiences I ever had. The only problem I had with it is that it was only 5 days. It felt like you were just getting into the groove of it, and then you got to go home.
Yeah. And so what was catering like for that one?
Catering was great because the director had a friend from high school that's still good friends, and they love cooking. And they had a job as a photographer, but it left them with free time as well. So, and they were very familiar with the different food allergies some of us have, which is basically me. So she was wonderful. She came in and she made every single meal safe for me because usually on set I'm kind of in the corner like a leper, either having to bring something myself or eat a special modified diet, modified meal, which always makes me feel bad because that's another barrier to getting hired because it costs the production a little bit more to make something special for you. But she was great. She just went and made everything, and everything was safe for me. It was really good, healthy food. All of us were kind of confused. We're like, wait, why don't we feel horrible? What's going on here? So we've asked her back on the next one. We don't know when the next one's going to be, but yeah, her name is Kiana. Really good friend, and appreciate you, Kiana.
That's way cool. And then that keeps, everyone, like you can't really ask for something better than that right there. That's pretty amazing. And so
Yeah.
are you doing any of the stuff that's coming around, like doing extra work, any of that?
Uh,
Or is you
I,
staying away from that right now?
I've gotten some notices. I have dipped in and done a couple extras behind the scenes stuff on a few of the bigger projects and applied to them, but unfortunately, the last few that I applied to, I was already on the different movie, and it would be a thing like, oh, here's 5 days of work, and the extras background pay was actually higher paid than the actual crew work that I was doing, and I was like, oh, that'd be so much easier, but I wanted to be more involved, so the other project was a little more attractive. Plus, I told them that I would do it, so that one would have been a project that had a bank heist, and they asked me, "Oh, would you be fine with seeing like special effects and like fake bodies and like gun fights and everything?" I was like, I didn't say this, but I was kind of like, I'd pay to see that. So I was really excited for that one. Didn't get to do it. I did do one that actually had Khaleesi from Game of Thrones a little less than a year ago. Uh, Khaleesi's the blonde, or kind of white-haired character, one of the main ones from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Emily, I think her name is Emily. Anyways, they sat me next to her at the main table for a TV show, and I got to be in a scene. It was basically like a biker bar, and they had me stand up to some Nazis. So that was always fun. Or that one was pretty fun, and I definitely would do it. I just need to get better about my schedule, and because sometimes I see the notices coming, and I think in my head like, oh yeah, I'll apply to that, and then I forget to write it down. So just whoop, And then I'll see people posting about it or people asking me like, oh, hey, are you on that one? Like, oh, whoops. So I might do some extra stuff in the future. Typically a crew person, actor wouldn't do that. But
Right.
from what I've learned, that's more, they tell you not to do that because, of course, they like to put you in a certain position. And sometimes if you're on set as a background, it gets people confused. But also, one of the reasons that I've been told not to do that is a lot of people will add that to like their crew experience or their actual acting experience, which it isn't.
Right.
The job's a lot different if you're doing actually acting. So I don't go around and put that on any resume or tell people. And I do get friends on crew because I do stuff on the independent front that some of the crew members cross over with the really big projects. So I'll be on the background of a project. I'll have one of the lighting guys come to me. He's like, what the heck are you doing here? And they'll like kind of pull me behind the scenes and show me all the lighting rigs and show me some cool stuff. I've had assistant directors pull me aside and like want to have lunch with me just because they know me from the other stuff. And when you do extras, you're not supposed to talk to crew or anything,
Right.
because you don't want to distract them during their job. So it puts me in a weird spot because I'm just sitting there like, oh, this is great. And then I look over like, oh, that second AD that told us don't talk to anyone.
Yep.
They're probably pretty mad right now, but I never go up and talk to anyone. They always bring me up. So that's been a fun thing. I hope I haven't made any ADs mad or second ADs mad by doing that. But
Yeah. So then, are you waiting to get into a gunfight or get killed? Have you been killed yet?
I've been killed in a lot of movies.
So you seem like the guy that would be killed. You like sort
Yep.
of the Sean Bean
Yep.
or something, which
And
is cool.
I don't mind that at all because a lot of people fight against typecasting and have negative things to say about that. In my mind, typecast is still cast and it's acting. Like, even if your typecast is a horrible thing, you're not actually that thing. So I'm happy with it. I'd rather be working than sitting at home and hold out for the roles that are different enough, because every movie, even if it's like a very similar character, the experience is a lot different. You could get a chance to do one thing you wanted to do for a different character on a different project that you thought of, but you couldn't do because the director shut it down or they didn't use it in a cut. So it can kind of help you get familiar with the character you have to play. I do play a lot of sympathetic weirdos, so people feel bad for me, and then I die. So, but I don't mind that. Get paid, get to be on set, and honestly, when I keep on talking about money, but the only way that I care about money in all of this is that if I make money doing it enough to keep squeaking by and buy gear and everything, I can do it more and not have to hop onto a day job. Where that's where I see a lot of people get into, is where they start getting a steady paycheck. And even though film is their number one love, they want to eat and they have like kids and a apartment to pay for. So
Right.
that can get kind of attractive. So if I can just eke out just a little bit of money every time I do it and to keep me going, I'll be happy. Even if I get like minimum wage, don't tell anyone that. Not like this is going out anywhere.
Right.
Because I would be doing it for free to an amount, like just on my free time for fun. But then I would only be able to do like 1 or 2 projects a year because I'd be busy with a day job. So my main goal is to do as many projects as I can and get better and work with new people that I can steal all their information from, steal their tricks.
Yeah, which is what it's kind of about, is
Yeah.
being able to just take everything in like a sponge and get better yourself and be able to have as many hats as you can. Like having someone that's able to do as much as you can is invaluable to any production. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Keeps you
pretty
a little
cool.
busier. I
Yeah.
do like keeping busy.
So, okay. So back to the death thing. Have you always been killed, or has there been like one where you've like died, like you had like some illness or something?
No, only killed. Killed a
Only
lot.
killed.
I've been killed 3 times. I think it was 3 times via uh, uh, downstairs. They were horror movies. Once it got chopped off.
Okay.
Once a boom pole got stuck through the back of me and it was on there. and then one other one. So I thought for a while, and those were all in somewhat close proximity when those happened. Two of them were the same movie because the character comes back. But I thought, oh no, I don't mind typecasting, but is that going to be all that happens when I get on set? I'm just gonna. So I mean, I don't mind that. It was funny and it was played for comedy in a lot of it. So I don't mind that aspect of it. But I was like, is every movie going to be like this? And thankfully, I've died in a lot more inventive ways since then. One of the fun ones I got to do was on a bigger movie that I got to do some crew work for, and I popped in as a background basically and played some guards. Was a project called The Death of Snow White. And that one was way higher budget than I usually get to work on. Huge production, tons of people. We went to Idaho for part of the shoot for a few days to an actual castle on a lake. So we got to shoot in a castle because it's, kind of medieval themed.
Where's that?
That I can't tell you exactly where because I don't remember. All I know is I went to Idaho. And it was on a really nice lake, and there were sports boats and everything coming up the whole time, driving right up to like the moat thing at the back of the castle. And the guy was pretty popular. There were boats full of drunk people, mostly women, coming up and asking them to party and say, "Getting on the boat." And he's like, "No, I'm making a movie." So that guy's life was pretty cool. The location owner, but that one they also made the biggest set that I've ever been on, where they replicated a throne room and part of a castle in Washington where we shot the bulk of it. And in that one, I actually got to pop in for a few characters and get some pretty high level special effects done on me. I got to have my back, a knife inserted or a sword inserted here and cut up, and the person holds my spine so the rest of me falls down. And it's really cool. It's part of the first part of the movie. I don't have any speaking lines. They just offered me a little bit in it because I was already on crew and they know I like acting and everything. And I think the beard helps with looking medieval. So so I got to do that one, and that one was probably one of the best outcomes of the special effects from one of my deaths. That it looked the best, so I was happy with that.
That's awesome. And so then what's coming up here soon? What's in the works?
Tomorrow morning I have a day where I'm just crew on this one, doing gaffing, the lighting, and helping grip. Well, helping a couple different departments because I'm on a project where we're the group that hired me on. I've worked with a lot of the people on different projects before, and it's some actors that decided to start their own production, and they got interested in iPhone filmmaking. So they decided to buy all the gear and get that together, and then they hired one of my friends that I've worked a lot with normal cameras, Carson Wright, as the DP. And we've had probably like 4 or 5 shoot days so far. Actually, no, 6, I think. We went to the project is called Rabbit Brush, and we went to near Christmas Valley, Oregon, which is past Mount Hood and deep in the desert, to a lava formation called Crack in the Ground. And we did a couple shoots there already. We've done some shooting in Portland a few days, and we're going back tomorrow to finish off this portion of the shoot because, of course, with the weather getting bad, this production wants to pause it until basically spring or summertime, and we can go back to some of the locations because pretty soon they're not going to be passable because especially the desert, it was way out there. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow, and it's just in Portland. No driving 5 hours this time to get to the desert. And so that's what's absolutely next. And then I have another project where I'm supposed to production assistant on next Tuesday, but I haven't gotten all the details on that yet, so that might shift. And then the group that I'm working with, 7th Street Productions, is working with or talking to several different distributors and financiers about different projects that Calvin, the lead behind 7th Street, has come up with and kind of wanted to get going because we've not produced as many films this summer as we normally do. So our group hasn't got to be around each other much and collaborate like we normally do. So we're all kind of hungry to get back together. The other crews and everything that we've worked with, because we all worked on different projects apart from 7th Street, they're great people and everything, but sometimes you just have that super quick shorthand that makes everything super smooth and like second nature, and that's where we are with 7th Street. So we're all really good friends, and part of it is we just want to see each other. So hopefully one of those projects takes off soon.
Cool,
and then
man.
Beyond that, I should work on getting my headshots for that acting agent and pursue that a little bit more.
I agree. How are people going to find you?
Okay, you can look on Facebook. My name is Timothy Coyle. There will probably be links afterwards. On Instagram, timothy.coyle87. And then you can see some of the movies that I've worked on 7thstreetproductions.com, I believe it is. The link will be in the description, I believe. And yep, down there. And yeah, that'll give you some sort of view of the projects that I'm on. I do get to post a lot of behind the scenes, just kind of quick videos and pictures on production. So if you like seeing what different indie groups are using for gear or the crazy setups that they're doing, you can go ahead and give it a follow or just look at the videos. I think anyone can watch them.
That's awesome. And so, yeah, thanks so much again for being on here. And I enjoy our talks, and I'm going to see if I can watch some Tim Coyle movie
Heck
here.
yeah.
So for a like a horror movie of sorts, what would be the go-to if I was going to go get on my TV right now and I wanted to see the most Tim Coyle film there is? What would I search?
Well, let's see. So I am probably most proud of one that I'm not in that much, just because we got to do a lot of cool lighting setups and the locations allowed for just crazy stuff. And it's one of the most kind of effective horror movies that we've done, because we got to watch it with a crowd at Crypticon Seattle, a horror convention in Seattle. And people were standing up and like cheering in the background at the end because some of the effects were really cool at the end. It was pretty extreme. And usually we just hear about people like if they message us like, oh, we liked your movie or we watched your movie, but we don't get to see that audience reaction thing because of a lot of our movies just go to streaming. So sometimes we don't even have premieres. So to see that type of reaction, I was like, okay, if you like horror, one called Conjuring the Cult. That one is probably the best put together out of the ones we've done. I'm in a movie, Conjuring the Beyond, a little bit more. It's kind of in the same universe, but not really a sequel. That one, the location was awesome, but for lighting, it wasn't the best. So the lighting on it's a little flatter than I'd like, but some of it's really good looking, and it's a fun film. That one I'm in a little bit more, but probably the one that I'm most featured in is Revenge of the Boogeyman. And that one, don't watch if you want to keep it PG, because for the comedy aspect of it, there's some pretty raunchy scenes in that one, and you probably see way more than me than you ever wanted to. So do with that information with what you will.
All right.
So, and then one that started it off that people seem to have fun with is one called Conjuring or A Haunting in Ravenwood. And that one we filmed like in 2020. And I have a bit character in that, but people seem to like that character, and I reprised him in a different one of our movies. But yeah,
cool.
All I think are on Tubi, and I think a few of those that I'm in. Oh, sorry, another one. If you just like not super devastating horror, and you just want kind of like crowd pleasing horror, our movie called Pillow Party Massacre. People have had a good time with that. That one, the location was horrible for lighting, so the lighting overall is pretty flat in it. But the performances and the story and everything is really fun, and people have liked that one a lot. And I just play a teeny character in that one as well. So there's some options. I think they're all on Tubi for totally free. You can purchase them on Amazon and Apple TV and a bunch of different platforms if you want. But those ones are totally free. You just have to watch some commercials.
Okay. Can I do some Tim Coyle consulting for a minute here?
Yes.
Okay, so my lighting here, I have this chandelier up above, and then I just have this little light here that's one of these things about this big. What would you suggest to make this not look terrible? I had a pretty good lighting setup in my old place, but here I'm having
So
a difficulty.
So for me, as you can see, the room I'm in right now doesn't have the best lighting because I just moved in. I don't have any of my gear with me, and I didn't really honestly think about it this time. But for you, placing yourself somewhere where you're a little bit further away from a backdrop could help, or even changing the color of your backdrop to more spread across both the sides of your screen and be like maybe a dark tone. If you're going to wear a light shirt, like you can even put
Yeah,
a sheet up or just a backdrop, and then that little light that you have, you could either turn around if you have a white wall and blast it at the wall as high as you can, because that creates a bigger, softer source right in front of you. And that'll be
ooh,
less harder shadows. And then there's color temperature. I don't know if the light changes different
yeah,
colors, but
yeah. I can
you could
change it a little bit.
you could play around with that. And then
Yeah,
part of it would be one thing that I like to do for film at least is either turn off your room light and put a
yeah.
little lamp in the corner to where you can make the background is slightly dimmer than you, and it just helps
Ooh,
bring attention to the subject a little bit more. But if you wanted to get super fancy with it, you get a cheap light and hang it somehow behind you and
like
give yourself but out of frame, like up above. You'd have to figure out how you could do that, and you'd have it hitting the back of your head, so it gives you a nice little halo of light, and then that separates you out from the background. uh, People call that hair light, sometimes rim light, depending on the position of it. But just basically any way you give yourself different pockets of light and darkness and color, to
yeah,
where it's not all one note. Like a lot of your frame right now is kind of white tannish, so the focus is pretty good on you right now because your face is in the frame and it's much different than everything else. But just trying different things like that might be able to help you make it a little more like YouTuber setup type of thing. But some of it is gear. A lot of the cheap gear now can work great. It just, you wouldn't want to take that gear on set, because a lot of the cheaper stuff can work great, but it's the, yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Hold on. Okay, and so yeah, dude, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, so you could use any cheap uh, lighting gear you can think of. People just use like house light bulbs and put pieces of paper in front of it to diffuse it, or like a white sheet. It just depends on what you want to do. If you want to get super fancy with it, you could start looking at 3-point lighting setup videos on YouTube, and that could give you a clue of how they do like sit down interviews and how they light those. And part of that is you have like a light over here, which is your key, and a light over here, which is either like a bounce card or a light that's turned down way lower, so your face isn't totally flat and one dimensional. It's better to have a little bit more shadow on one side than the other. And then you have
Yeah,
that like hair light to help pop you out. And sometimes you have different lights in the room to do just an overall room light to where there's some level of light in the room, but not enough to pull attention from you.
cool. Well, dude, that's awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, well, okay, dude, thank you so much for being on, and I'll get you back on here at some point. I'm recording again now, and yeah, like I said, I'm only taking people that I really want to have on, so that's why you're back here. So
Cool.
thanks
Thanks for
again,
having me
man.
on, man.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I watch your movies here.
Heck yeah. And you can even catch a couple of them in Spanish. They've dubbed them over in
Ooh,
Spanish. And not to cut down my acting abilities, but the Spanish actor that they hired, oh my God, he's way better. His voice is awesome.
ooh. All right.
Yeah.
So I have to watch it in Spanish then too.
Yes. Yeah. You have to watch
Okay.
all of them.
Perfect. All right. Well, you have a good one there, buddy.
You too,
All
sir.
right. Go. I cut him off. Fuck. I'm sorry, dude. Tim's cool as shit. I'm sorry, Tim. If you're listening to this, find Tim. Find me, rustydiamond.net, hypnosisisgreat.com, popappealing.net, worldclasscustoms.com if you want any sort of gear or accessories for your action figures. And check out my books. Hypnosis is great. Erotic hypnosis is great. Find those on Amazon. And that is the show, man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.